The marriage of Abdullah and Aminah. Abdul-Muttalib was 70 years old or more when Abraha arrived in Makkah to destroy the ancient house. His son Abdullah was 24 years of age and was ready for marriage. His father chose for him Aminah, daughter of Wahb, ibn Abd Manaf, ibn Zurah, the chief of the tribe of Zurah, as well as its eldest and noblest member. Abdul-Muttalib took his son and went with him to the house of the tribe of Zurah. There he sought the residence of Wahb and went in to ask for the hand of Wahb's daughter for his son. Some historians claim that Abdul-Muttalib went to the house of Uhayb, the uncle of Aminah, assuming that her father had passed away and that she was under the protection of her uncle. On the same day that Abdullah married Aminah, his father, Abdul-Muttalib, married a cousin of hers named Hala. It was thus that the Prophet could have an uncle on his father's side, namely Hamza, of the same age as he. As was the custom in those days, Abdullah lived with Aminah among her family for the first 3 days of the marriage. Afterwards, they moved together to the quarter of Abdul-Muttalib, and soon he was to be called on a trading trip to El-Sham. When Abdullah left for this trip, Aminah was pregnant. A number of stories circulated telling of Abdullah's marriage with other women besides Aminah, and of many women seeking to marry Abdullah. It is not possible to ascertain the truth of such tales. What is certainly true is that Abdullah was a very handsome and strong young man, and it is not at all surprising that other women besides Aminah had wished to marry him. Such women would have at least temporarily given up hope once Abdullah's marriage to Aminah was announced. But who knows? It is not impossible that they may have waited for his return from El-Sham, hoping that they might still become his wives along with Aminah. Abdullah was absent for several months in Gaza. On his way back, he stopped for a longer rest at Medina, where his uncles on his mother's side lived, and was preparing to join a caravan to Makkah when he fell ill. When the caravan reached Makkah, his father was alerted to Abdullah's absence and disease. Abdul-Muttalib immediately sent his eldest son, Al-Haris, to Medina in order to accompany Abdullah on the trip back to Makkah after his recovery. Upon arriving at Medina, however, Al-Haris learned that Abdullah had died and that he had been buried in Medina a month after the start of that same caravan to Makkah. Al-Haris returned to Makkah to announce the death of Abdullah to his aged father and his wife, Aminah. The shock was tremendous, for Abdul-Muttalib loved his son so much so that he would have ransomed him with 100 camels, a ransom never equaled before. Abdullah left 5 camels, a herd of sheep, and a slave nurse called Amin, who was to take care of the Prophet. This inheritance coming by right of birth does not prove that Abdullah was wealthy, but at the same time it does not prove that he was poor. Furthermore, Abdullah was still a young man, capable of working and of amassing a fortune. His father was still alive, and none of his wealth had as yet been transferred to his sons.